Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai, and welcome to Frogs on Friday. Straight into today's show, we'll be looking at mahi media and answering the question of, are Kiwis more tempted now to jump across the ditch? We'll go through our hot jobs as usual, and I'm joined by Esha Nischol, who's going to talk about job hopping and whether that's a good career strategy on the back of our poll from last week. And speaking of which, we'll finish off with the polls at the end. So let's go into mahi media. Now, it's a big headline here. 1 in 3 Kiwis thinking of moving to Australia. Now, I had a look. I thought, oh, goodness, we don't need more bad news. But when I had a look into the detail into this article, I thought, oh, actually, maybe that's a little bit of clickbait there for the results from the study from Massey and Otago universities. So when I looked in, the actual results from their survey of, I think it was over a thousand New Zealanders of working age, it was actually only 9.5% of respondents said yes, that they were going to move to Australia now that it's easier to get citizenship. And the way that they got their 1/3 figure was by adding in all the maybes. So 26% said, oh, actually, maybe, but it depends on conditions for Kiwis and a bunch of other things. So the changes to the pathway to Australian citizenship for Kiwis living in Australia, it's definitely a very welcome change and long overdue development. But I don't really think that it's having a major impact on people's decision to stay in New Zealand or jump across the ditch. It's more that it's being able to give favourable conditions to those who are already over there. So the new pathway sees Kiwis living in Australia for at least 4 years are now eligible for citizenship. And they've been really quick to take action on that, with more than 15,000 New Zealanders have already applied for citizenship since the changes came into effect in July. Now back to the study. You know me, I always like to give a bit of a positive spin on that. So I think that the fact that close to 2/3 said no, I'm not considering moving, is definitely a good thing there. But Kiwi employers really need to work hard to convince the 26% still sitting on the fence, and really to think about what's in your control, to making them, or sorry, to make working with your business and staying in New Zealand attractive. So, you know, what's in your control? Well, you can't do much about the living costs, which is one of the key reasons I think that people are making that move. But definitely things like salaries, the way your benefits packages and incentives are made up, and the all important work life balance. We've seen what a difference that makes, or how it's a key influencer in people's decisions of whether to stay with their employer or move. So, be able to look at how you're able to work that into your work packages so that they can enjoy beautiful Aotearoa, will definitely be a big factor in enticing people to work with you. All right, so speaking of working, let's have a look at some of the hot jobs this week. Okay, so first up we have a temp role, which is a health and safety coordinator. Now, I didn't give Esha a heads up, but I'm just going to land her in it. I'm sure she can cope because even though Kirsty's running this role, I'm sure she'll know some of the details. Or maybe not. Okay, that didn't work at all. So I'll continue on and tell you a little bit more about the health and safety coordinator. I know within this role that there's a variety of tasks involved there, and it's a really good team and an environment to come and join. Looking at a decent rate there, so $28 to $30 per hour, plus all the usual bells and whistles that go along with that. If you do have experience working within health and safety, um, please get in touch with Kirsty Hennigan and she can tell you more about the role, much more than I could. Let's have a look at what the perm job is this week. Okay, so another role from Wellington. So this one's a project senior advisor, and again, decent salary between 100 to 120K. For this one here, I did look at some of the details here. So it's a really good close knit team here, and a team who likes to have fun as well. So working within a government agency that is not always part of the role. So good to see their environment there. For this one, if you are interested or want to know about similar roles, get in touch with Caroline from our Wellington team. Okay, and now let's have a look at a sample of the jobs that are on offer overseas. Okay, so it's always a different role from the team in London in the UK. So this week they have a family lawyer role in northwest London. So again, if you are interested in making the move to London or the UK in general, feel free to get in touch with us and we'll point you in the right direction of the wonderful team based in London. And
Happy Monday, LinkedIn. We're currently recruiting for a reception/administrator for a team based down in Kwinana. This position is based within a shopping centre in centre management, which will see you assisting with reception, general administration, incoming phone calls, customer queries, and more. This is a Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. till 4:30 p.m. position, and it will see you through to late September. Previous office work or customer service will be considered for this position. If you are interested, please contact myself on 0861606206 for more info or a confidential chat today.
okay, Esha. Well,
Yes.
I couldn't get you on to talk about the role, but that's okay. We've got you here to talk about job hopping. So, as I said last week in the polls, we asked if it was a good strategy. So, we'll reveal what the results were after this. But what do you think?
Honestly, it's a interesting one because it comes up a lot, especially working in the temp space. It's something you always ask. But since the pandemic, one of the more frequent trends that has emerged is job hopping and the fact that it could, help with career progression. That is sort of something that everyone thinks. For those that don't know, job hopping refers to regularly changing jobs within a short period of time. And sometimes it has advantages like salary increases or breaking plateaus. But more often than not, it leads to serious disadvantages for some people wanting to progress their career. A few of those I've got here for you today. So the first one would be the lack of stability in career progression. Job hopping can signal a lack of commitment and stability to potential employers. When you see on your CV that you've got, 4 or 5 roles within a year and a half, it's a bit of a red flag that comes up. Many employers do prefer candidates who demonstrate long term commitment to a role, as they're more likely to invest in their professional development and advancement within the company. Second disadvantage is limited skill development. So, frequently changing jobs may prevent you from fully developing your skills and expertise in that area. And then sometimes it does take a while for you to become proficient in a new job. And by moving on too quickly, you might miss out on opportunities for deepening your knowledge and experience. And that could potentially limit your ability to take on more challenging and rewarding roles in the future, because by moving, you haven't been able to quite grasp those skills yet. And the last sort of disadvantage that I've got is reduced job security and benefits. So, in most cases, job hopping may lead to reduced job security and access to company benefits. Many benefits, such as retirement plans, health insurance, and paid time off, often require a minimum tenure with a company before they become available for you to use, such as sick leave and annual leave. You have to work at a company for 6 months first, and then you can use those things. So if you are consistently switching jobs, you could maybe, limit yourself from having these benefits, and that could potentially impact your financial stability and well-being. What I would recommend instead is potentially looking into temping or contracting. Um, Whereas you still have shorter roles that you can do, and you get to experience a range of industries and roles and experiences, but it doesn't go down as sort of like a job hop. It's more a temp or contract role.
Yeah. Yeah, really interesting. Why do you think this has become a trend, and particularly in the last year or so?
I think it depends. There's a few reasons. Coming out of the COVID market, I think a lot of people had time to sort of think about what they were doing and be like, you know what? Don't think this is what I want to do. I don't enjoy this. And maybe started a new career and got into a permanent job and then realized, wait, this is also what I don't want to do. And then moving again, trying to find their right place. Others, it could be financial strains, with the cost of living that you mentioned going up. It could
Mhm.
be just seeing
And the
that.
money?
Yeah, exactly. Seeing that, oh wow, I'm doing this role and this has two things more and I can get maybe another 10K. Let me try this. But, you may get that 10K now, but it's, not helping your future progression. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Chasing, oh, I've got no idea what I was gonna say then actually. Um,
You're good.
it is one of those days.
Yep.
Um, all right, well, very interesting. So now, we've kind of done this, put the horse before the cart here, or the other way around. Um, so let's have a look at what the poll results were for last week, and the new poll. Okay, so yes, we asked, would you consider job hopping as a career progression strategy? And I said, look, not that I want to sway the results, but I can't see people seeing that as a good strategy. So obviously, I didn't have to worry about swaying swaying people, because it came out the exact opposite. So a whopping 67.5% said yes, definitely. So maybe as we were talking about, people were looking at, suddenly we're in a very different market where actually the job seekers or in employees were in more of a position of power. There's suddenly, rising wages and salaries and better conditions, and employers kind of bending over backwards to be able to entice people in. So maybe it was around making the most of those opportunities. So we'll see how that. I guess that the proof is in the pudding, and see how that works out in the long term. Okay, so let's have a look at this week's poll. All right, so still on job hopping. So, how many times have you changed jobs in the last 12 months? So, let's see how many people are actually, they might think it's a good strategy, but have they actually employed it as well? That is it for today's show. Just a reminder, so the People's Choice voting is still open for our Top Dog competition, so make sure you get on board there. There's some amazing stories for the finalists for all three of our categories, so make sure you check out nztopdog.co.nz and have a look at some of the wonderful pooches there. That's it for today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week, maybe a little bit more articulate. See you then.